Good evening. Today we are going into the third part of our chapter Motion in a Plane. And in today's session, we're going to see how the motion of a body in a plane can be treated as two one-dimensional motion happening simultaneously but independent of each other. We will start with an example, and I hope through the example we can come to our conclusions. Now, what I've written here is, suppose we have, like in our previous chapter, we did one dimensional motion, and suppose, let me take a case, an example where I have a ball and I'm going to throw it vertically up at an initial velocity of 20 meter per second. So obviously the body is under the acceleration due to gravity, which I've taken as minus 10 meter per second, so that it will be easier for my calculations. G is minus 9.8 meter per second square. I'm sorry, minus 10 meter per second square. Okay, so then to find out the displacement of the body at different intervals of time, we will be using the formula S is equal to ut plus half at square. So S is equal to 20 times t, and A, if I put minus 10, I'll have minus 5t square. And if you want to find the velocity of the body at different intervals, we can use the formula V equal to U plus AT. So substituting the values, V equal to 20 minus 10t. So these two equations will give me the displacement and the velocity of the particle at different instants of time. I've taken t equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 in seconds. So this is the case where we have a body in one dimensional motion. My ball is projected with 20 meter per second under the acceleration due to gravity. It goes up and then comes down. So here, if I am plotting the displacement in meters, substituting for time as 0 in my equation here, I get displacement as 0. At 1 second, if I substitute for t, I get 15 meters. At 2 seconds, you will see if you substitute, you get 20 meter. At 3 seconds, if you substitute, you will see that the displacement is 15 meters. And at 4 seconds, it is back to displacement equal to 0. So if I plot the values of velocity at those intervals of time using this equation, the first one will be 20 minus 10 into 0, and that's how I got this 20 meter per second. For t equal to 1 second, you will get 10 meter per second. 3 seconds, the velocity becomes 0, and at 3 seconds, it is minus 10 meter per second, and at 4 seconds, it is minus 20 meter per second. So using these two equations, I have plotted the values for displacement and velocity at different intervals of time. Now, if I show you through a diagram, you will see at 0 second, I projected the body at 20 meter per second. It is at displacement 0 from where it is projected. At 1 second, it is at 15 meters from here, and it is having a velocity of 10 meter per second. Then at 2 seconds, it has reached the maximum height of 20 meter. And as you know, a body, when thrown up at maximum height, its velocity will be 0, because this is the point of return. So its velocity has touched 0. And then as it comes down, in the next 3 seconds, one more second, and third second, it will be back to this 15 meters. But its velocity is in the downward direction, so minus 10 meter per second. And then in the fourth second, it is back to where it was projected with the velocity in the downward direction, so minus 20 meter per second, and the displacement is back to 0. So this is the case we have taken for a body projected with initial velocity 20 meter per second under the acceleration due to gravity at intervals of time t equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 seconds. Now the same body, suppose I were to project the ball not in one dimensional motion, not along the y-axis, vertically up direction. Instead, I project the ball with an initial velocity u vector, making an angle of 30 degree with the x-axis. So you will see that I have not projected the ball vertically up. Instead, I have projected it in a plane like this. Now already you know how to resolve the vectors. So if you resolve, for example, let me say this is 40 meter per second. In that case, if you resolve, this will be the adjacent side. I hope you know it is 40 cos 30, and you will get that this is ux along the I cap, the direction, which I am taking as 35 meter per second, because that is 40 cos 30. 40 into cos 30 is root 3 by 2. Same way, if I take this component, which I would call as uy j cap, meaning uy is the component of this initial velocity vector along the y-axis, that will be 40 times sine 30, because that's the opposite side, and sine 30, as you know, is half, and so this will be 20 meter per second. So I may write the velocity vector, initial velocity vector, as in the component form 35 I cap along the x-axis plus 20 j cap. And you will see that I have taken this particular value so that this body has 20 meter per second along the y-axis, like we did here. The initial velocity was 20 meter per second along the y-axis. Only thing is, in this case, motion in 2D, it has got also a x component. Now, acceleration. So this body also has acceleration. To keep things, the acceleration can also be in two-dimensional. The acceleration is also a vector which can have its components along the x-axis and the y-axis. But to keep things simple, I will take acceleration as minus 10 j cap. That means once I project the body, it is only under the acceleration due to gravity, which is minus 9.8. I have rounded it off to minus 10, and it is along the negative y-axis, so minus 10 j cap. I repeat, this acceleration can also be in a plane having in its own x-axis and y component. But to keep things simple, let's imagine that this body has no acceleration along the no x component, but the acceleration is only along the negative y-axis, like acceleration due to gravity. Now, to find out the position of this particle at some instant, we need to write, I'm using vector r, because like in 2D, vector r has its components. Suppose this is vector r. Okay, it has a component along the x-axis which I would call as x I cap, this much, and the component along this will be called y j cap. So that vector r can be written as x I cap plus y j cap. So here I'm going to use the formula ut plus half at square. So we now have u is 35 I cap plus 20 j cap into t plus half into a. Half into minus 10 would be minus 5. So that will be minus 5 t square along j cap. Now vector r, as you know, has two components, x I cap and y j cap. So if you compare this, you will see. So I'm going to bring together the I terms and the j terms. So this will be 35 t I cap plus 20 t minus 5 t square along j cap. I just couple these two because this is also along j, this is also along j, and this is the I vector. So this is r vector for you. Now if you compare this r vector with its components x I cap and y j cap, you know that the magnitude along the x-axis, that is x, should be equal to this 35t, because that is along the x-axis. Similarly, y j cap would be its displacement, the component of r along the y-axis. If you see, that will be y, displacement y along the y-axis will be 20t minus 5t square. Okay. Now the same velocity, I can also find the velocity of this particle, instantaneous velocity as it is projected. The instantaneous velocity, as you know, is dr by dt. So which means I need to, this is the r vector which I can differentiate with respect to time. So that's what I'm going to do. Differentiate r vector with respect to time to get the instantaneous velocity. So here 35t along I cap would be the velocity vector is equal to, if I differentiate 35t, the differential of t is 1. So that will be 35 into 1, that will be 35 along the I cap plus the x-axis plus 20t. Again the differential of t is 1. So this will be simply 20, that is 20, let me write it up to the left. So the velocity vector is 35 along the I cap, I'm differentiating this, plus 20 into differential of t is 1, so that will be 20, and this will be minus 5 into differential of t square is 2t. So minus 5 into 2t would be minus 10t. This will be the velocity vector, the instantaneous velocity. This is the initial velocity. As it travels, the velocity at different instants of time will be given by this equation. So we know that the vector v has its components vx along the x-axis plus vy along the y-axis. So if you compare these two equations, you will see vx is what? 35 meter per second, and vy happens to be, this is 20t minus 10t meter per second. Okay. Now let us look at this. You will see that this is how the position vector, this is the displacement along the x-axis that has been given here with as time changes, and this is the displacement along the y-axis. If you look at this equation, y equal to 20t minus 5t square, it is exactly the same as this 20t minus 5t square, which means this was a body that was projected with 20 meter per second initial velocity along the y-axis, and then traveling under the acceleration due to gravity. In the same case, we have our body here projected with 40 meter per second, making an angle 30 with the x-axis, because of which it has a 20 meter per second along the y-axis component and 35 meter per second component along the x-axis. So its vertical displacement y is exactly similar to that of a one-dimensional motion along the y-axis. If you plot the position of the body using this formula, you are going to get the same values for the displacement along the y-axis of the body. Similarly, if you look at the instantaneous velocity along the y-axis, it is 20 minus 10t meter per second, which is the same as our motion in one-dimensional, the body moving along the y-axis, v equal to 20 minus 10t, which tells you that the instantaneous velocity of this body, which is in the 2D motion, two-dimensional motion, the velocity variation of the velocity component along the y-axis is exactly same as that of this one-dimensional motion. We will use this formula and get the same values. Okay. So that means, now if you look at the x-axis, the displacement along the x-axis, it is 35 times t. So if I am going to plot that here, at time t equal to 0, 0, then at 1 second it will be at 35 meters, 2 seconds 70 meters, 3 seconds 105 meters, and 4 seconds it will be at 140 meters from the origin. So that means this body is traveling along the x-axis. The displacement is increasing as 0, 35, 70, 105 and 140 meter from origin, going on increasing. But the y component is going from 0 to 15 meter to 20, back to 15 and back to 20, back to 0, sorry. So that means if you now look at the motion of this body in 2D, you projected the body with initial velocity u, which was 40 meter per second. Okay, so this is the y-axis and this is our x-axis. So this body, the displacement of the body, the position vector has a x component which is 35 times t plotted there, and a y component 20t minus 5t square, where the values are plotted here. So that means your body should reach some maximum height and then return back to 0. This maximum height will be along the y-axis, it will be 20 meter. Then starting is 0, and at some time, let's say we have at 1 second, it is at 15 meter from along the y-axis. Okay. Then at 3 seconds, it's again at 15 meters. That is, this is 3 seconds. And then at 4 seconds, it gets back here. So your y component has gone from 0 to 15 to 20, back to 15, back to 0, just like a body in one-dimensional motion, projected with initial velocity 20 meter per second and under the acceleration action of the action of g. Now this body also has moved to the right as when it reached at 15 here, at 1 second along the x-axis the displacement was 35 meter. Then at 2 seconds it is 70 meter. At 3 seconds it is 105 meter, and at 4 seconds it is 140 meter. So you will see, instead of the body going up and down just like in one dimensional motion, here because of this x component, the body has also moved to the right, and the combination of the two producing a parabolic path. If you look at the velocity is also a vector quantity. So if you look at the velocity, let's say the velocity at this point should be in this direction. Velocity v will have a x component, will also have a y component. If you look at the velocity at this instant, this is along the tangent like this. So it will have a y component and an x component. At this point, the velocity is in this direction. It will have an x component and a y component. And here also there will be an x component and a y component, just like in the origin. This is the origin. There is an x component and a y component. Now let us look at the x component. The x component of velocity, instantaneous velocity, is 35 meter per second. It is independent of time, which means that throughout the motion, whatever may be the time, the velocity along the x-axis remains constant at 35 meter per second. Because initially I told you, we were taking a case where there is no acceleration, no force along the x-axis. So since there is no force along the x-axis and the acceleration was only along the y-axis, the body must maintain a constant velocity in the x-axis. The x component must remain the same. So at every instant, this will be 35 meter per second, no change. 35 meter per second, this will be 35 meter per second, and here also this will be 35 meter per second. No change at all in the x component. But if you look at the y component, Vy equal to 20 minus 10t, that is this equation. That means the values will be like this. So this will be initially 20 meter per second. By the time it reaches 1 second, it will be 10 meter per second. At 2 seconds, it will reduce to 0. Here, because your velocity is in the downward direction, it will be 10 minus 10 meter per second. And here it will be minus 20 meter per second. So I hope through this example, you've understood that this body which is moving in two-dimensional motion has two components. So if you look at all the equations, if you look at this equation, you will see the displacement, the velocity and the acceleration are vector quantities. Look at this equation, the velocity and acceleration are all vector quantities, displacement also. Only time is a scalar here. So whether it is the x or the y axis, time is a scalar independent of direction. Every other vector quantity, all others are vector quantities which can be resolved into two dimensions, two components, one along the x-axis and the other along the y-axis. And the total motion, the whole motion of the body can be considered to be two separate one-dimensional motion, one along the x-axis, the other along the y-axis, and the one along the y-axis behaving exactly like a one-dimensional motion along y-axis, and this also behaving as a separate one-dimensional motion along the x-axis, independent of each other, but both happening simultaneously at the same time, and therefore we see that the path of the motion of the particle will be a parabola. Now, therefore, when you treat or when you do problems in two-dimensional motion, you may write the equations for two-dimensional motion in terms of its components along the x-axis and y-axis. Let me show you that. So the three equations of motions that we have, v equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, and v square minus u square equal to 2as. These are the three equations of motions that we will be using. And if you're going to write those equations for 2D motion, you will see along the x direction, the x-axis, our formulas will be v equal to u plus at can be written as vx is equal to ux plus axt. Then s is equal to ut plus half at square. Displacement along the x-axis we wrote as x is equal to uxt plus half axt square. And v square minus u square. So this is vx square minus ux square equal to 2ax into displacement along the x-axis we took as x. And if you're talking about y direction, the change, the variation of the components along the y-axis will be Vy equal to Uy plus Ayt, and displacement along the y-axis we took as y. So y equal to Uyt plus half Ayt square, and Vy square minus Uy square equal to 2Ay into displacement along y-axis as y. So these are the equations that we will be using for two-dimensional motion. I repeat, you should understand that if you want to find the displacement of the particle, so if you have if your body is traveling in two-dimensional motion, at some position, suppose you want to find out the distance covered along the x-axis, you're going to use this formula. You will see that this displacement is dependent only on the initial component of the initial velocity along the x-axis, the acceleration along the x-axis. It is independent of the acceleration along the y-axis or the component of initial velocity along the y-axis. Similarly, if you want to find out the velocity of this body at this instant, let's say the velocity here has two components. We have the vertical component and the horizontal component. Now if you want to find the vertical component, you are looking at this formula. It is dependent only on the initial velocity along the y-axis, the component of acceleration along the y-axis. The component of acceleration along the x-axis does not determine Vy. So that is why I said we are now going to find out, we found out in this session that 2D motion, two-dimensional motion can be considered to be two separate one-dimensional motions, both independent of each other, but both happening simultaneously. Thank you.